I'm here with Alex Bose, who's the primary actress, in fact, the only actor, in a new play called Birthmarks, which will be presented at the Fringe Festival. And joining me as well is Michael Catlin, who is directing a one-person play. First of all, tell me a little bit. This is part of the Fringe Festival, which is happening at Theatre Kingston. Tell me a little bit about that, about what it's, where this play is going to be performed and how.
Do you want to start?
Sure. So the Fringe Festival is a really cool opportunity to be a part of. It's done through a lottery, so Theatre Kingston puts out an application and you apply, and then there's a lottery system to see if you get to be part of the festival. So it's random, and anyways, there's 19 shows going on, and it's really cool to be a part of a festival like that. I'm hoping to see other shows and meet other artists through this, and yeah, I think it's a really cool collaborative opportunity.
And it's different because most festivals like this are juried, right? Where a bunch of experts get together and say, yeah, this looks like a great idea. No, not that one. And how does that affect the content? I know there's also, they reserve a couple of spots for children's shows because there's really a nothing is taboo attitude about the festival. Right. But you want to be careful with that with shows aimed at children. Where does your play fit into that rubric of all the different types of plays that are going to be shown or performed?
Well, Birthmarks is a play. It was written in 1997 and first performed at the Montreal Fringe Festival, a play written by Alexandria Haber. And it's a drama. It's a journey of a young woman's life that she's gone through some traumas and some hardships, and it's about her telling her story, and it has a positive ending. So it's a lovely story, I believe. Yeah.
From your perspective, Alex, what do you see as being the journey of your character?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think Kate's journey is, there's multiple things going on. She's recently gone through a loss. The other thing is that she's recently been contacted by her mother, who disappeared when she was 9 years old. So there is a mystery component to this play to kind of piece together Kate's story. I think her journey will really speak to a lot of people because it's about overcoming some challenging circumstances. And like Michael said, it does end positively, and it's sort of almost triumph of the human spirit, and I think it would connect to a lot of people.
What's the, and obviously you were doing this without being able to bounce off other actors, and I presume that the production is minimalist as well. Not having all that to do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in that, it's all on your shoulders.
From a performance stance, I will say we've got a great production team working on the show. So like Michael's directing it, Kevin Tanner's our lighting designer, Michael Gorgon's our sound designer, James Herkesh is our set designer. So we do have several people kind of collaborating from a technical standpoint, but you're right, acting-wise, there is some big differences about doing a one-person show. For example, like the energy, usually in a play you get to kind of bounce energy off of your other actors, but in this situation it is between me and the audience and sort of our interaction.
And do you then substitute the audience for your actors a little bit?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, this show, it is kind of directly speaking to the audience quite a bit, so that's a great way to look at it, yeah.
And as a director, what are some of the challenges of doing a one-act or a one-person play?
Well, interesting how I sort of thought of this was, Kate is telling her story to the audience. And so I started to think of it as a stand-up comedy, and how comics move around the stage telling jokes and telling their stories, So I had that in my mind as we were blocking the play and trying to make sure that certain parts were, more directed at an audience member or scanning the audience as opposed to other parts. So that's how I was approaching it. Like, it's a storytelling deal sort of thing.
So is there a lot of movement in it, like a lot of blocking? Do you get up and walk around and sit and move and...
Yeah. Yeah, I think, sorry. Well, it's interesting how, as a part of doing a one-person show, there's also about the importance of having variety in movement. So movement, but also stillness, and also even in the tone and pace that I speak at, it was really important to us to have a clear arc in the storyline for Kate.
And that, of course, would be in the play itself as well. And I sit corrected that it's not a new play, as I mentioned earlier. It's
new to Kingston, though.
Yeah.
new to Kingston,
Yeah.
so thanks for saving me. So I guess the play is what, 45 minutes long?
About that long, yeah.
How do you tell a complex, emotionally draining, emotionally detailed story in 40 minutes, 45 minutes? And is that all on you as the actress, or are you relying on the word?
Oh, well, that's a great thing to say, because it is a beautifully written play. It really does have a beautiful journey for Kate. The other thing that's really interesting about it is Kate displays a variety of emotions in a short time, so it's really cool to play, like, you know, she'll start to open up and then all of a sudden she's being really funny, and so it's really interesting to play those emotional swings throughout the play.
Why Demi Moore? I guess Kate is obsessed with Demi Moore. Why not, I don't know, Molly Ringwald?
You know, I've done a lot of, I was wondering that too, and so I watched a lot of Demi Moore movies. I've also been listening to her audiobook, like her memoir that she recorded, and as much as it's kind of a stretch, Kate feels that they have lived through some similar things, and when I first read it I was kind of confused by that, but listening to the audiobook I kind of understood it a bit more, because for example, Kate has had a challenging relationship with her mother, and something I didn't know about Demi Moore, she did as well. So there is some interesting connections there.
Yeah. So just switching gears a little bit. Alex, tell me a little bit about your road to being in a one-person show.
Okay, yeah. I started doing theater when I was really young, and I loved it right away. I've done a lot of plays, like with Canada Theatre, with the Arts Court Theatre in Ottawa, and then since I've moved to Kingston, I've worked with Domino Theatre, Kingstown. We've worked on a Fringe show before. Yeah. And so I've always been kind of trying to learn as much as I can as an actress. And when I was about 10 years old, I saw a one-woman show at the Stratford Fest. It was The Blonde, the Brunette, and the Vengeful Redhead. And so since I was about 10, that's kind of been in the back of my mind to one day work towards doing a one-woman show. And so I've been looking for scripts, and I read Birthmarks and I loved it, and I sent it to Michael and asked him if he wanted to direct, and that's where our team kind of started from.
Yeah.
And Michael, for those who don't know, and probably anybody involved in theatre around town knows you, just give me a little bit of your background.
In terms of theater, I think the first play I did at Domino Theatre was 1978. Yeah, and it was a British farce. And so I've worked with Domino over the years and done a lot of shows and stuff with Kingston Players. I did a short play with Thousand Islands Playhouse, and also Threshold Theatre was a theatre that had the Baby Grand for a while. I did a bunch of shows with them, acting, producing, directing, stage managing. I've done all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's you've obviously worked in productions with larger crews and with more actors, obviously. What's the difference between, let's say, a Domino type show and a Fringe show?
Well, a one-person Fringe show this is the first time I've ever directed a one-person show. So it's really allowed us to collaborate extensively, and to, I'd say we have looked at every second of this 45-minute play and sort of discussed how it should be presented. So that's, I feel really like it's fulfilling in a way to do a one-person, one-woman show. It's great.
I was just going to add on to that. I think it's been a great collaborative opportunity, and I've learned a lot from doing a one-person show and working with Michael. I think we've been working really hard, like being intentional with all of our choices, which is really cool to do when you have the time and space with a one-person show.
Yeah.
And it's all basically on your two sets of shoulders, too, is it?
Yep. in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We would take responsibility for it.
You know, besides, you know, we did mention, you know, there's other people helping with technical aspects, which is really helping our show come together.
I should ask, what does the title of the show, Birthmarks, what does it really mean?
Do you want to take this one?
It's this character, Kate, had a tragedy, and it's about infant death syndrome. So we're going to have a trigger warning in the program, and
I almost kind of interpreted too, like it is about you know, that experience, but I think Birthmarks also makes me think of it like kind of metaphorically with something staying with you forever. And this show's about Kate moving on after a loss, and it's staying with her, but her finding the strength to step forward.
Okay. So just let me know where people can see the show. We'll have a graphic to support it as well, but when's it premiering? And
August 4th at the Baby Grand Theatre, and you can buy tickets at the Grand Theatre website.
Yep.
Or at the box office, I believe.
Or probably at the Fringe Festival website as well.
Yeah, there's information there as well,
Okay. Well, thanks guys for coming in and telling us about it, and I think we all look forward to seeing it and the rest of what the Fringe Festival has to offer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.